This conference will now be recorded.
So people can hear me. I can't hear anyone else. Does anyone else? Someone else try to speak.
Can you hear me?
I can. Is Brad just muted then?
You're fine, sir.
Yeah, Brad, you're
Brad's
muted
just
if you're
muted.
trying to.
Okay. All right. Sorry
There
about
we
that.
go.
See, Brad was messing with me already. I was like,
Yeah.
no, we're
Yeah.
having this problem again. I can't hear anyone.
Yeah,
All right.
we do
So
have a
let's-
quorum. We do have 7 signatories.
And Brad, who's going to do the roll call for me?
I will do the roll call.
All right. All right. So welcome everybody to the MPO meeting today of the Montachusett MPO. Why don't we do the roll, Brad?
Okay, Steve Warfel for MassDOT Secretary and CEO.
Yeah, Steve Wolflow representing MassDOT Secretary and CEO, Gina Fiandaca here.
MassDOT Highway Division, Ann Sullivan.
Ann Sullivan, MassDOT District 3 Project Development Engineer, representing Highway Administrator Jonathan Gulliver.
And we have Mark Camerini, the City of Leominster.
Here.
Glenn Eaton, Montachusett Regional Planning Commission.
Glenn Eaton, MMPC on.
George Kahali, MART.
Yes, George Kahali, MART representing MART Administrator Bruno Fisher.
Okay. Brian Croto, Subregion 1.
Present.
Rosemary Meisner, Subregion 2.
Here.
Then we have Subregion 3, Cesar Nuzolo, new member.
Here.
Okay. And that, just quick people are jumping in. Just want to double check. That should be it. We do have our quorum.
All right. Again, welcome everybody. We'll move to agenda item 2, which is public comments. Any members of the public would like to address the MPO today? All right. I don't see anyone with raised hands, so we'll move to agenda item 3, which is approval of the June 28th minutes. Can I get a motion second to approve, please?
Motion made, Brian Croto.
Second, Ann Sullivan.
All right. Any changes or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, Brad, you want to read the roll, please?
Sure. MassDOT Secretary CEO, Steve Warfel.
Yes.
MassDOT Highway, Ann Sullivan.
Yes.
City of Leominster, Mark Camerini.
Yes.
MRPC, Glenn Eaton.
Yes.
MART, George Kahali.
Yes.
Subregion 1, Brian Croto.
Yes.
Subregion 2, Rosemary Meisner.
Abstain.
Subregion 3, Cesar Nuzolo.
Abstain.
We do have 2 abstentions, but the rest is unanimous.
All right. We'll now move over to agenda item 4, which is an update on the long-range transportation plan, which I don't believe we have one, because I know Chris is on vacation week and Derek is currently chairing Merrimack. Liz, I don't think we have anything, right, per se? I think we're still doing a lot of internal engagement within MassDOT. So why don't we move on to agenda item 5, which is a presentation on the Mass Vehicle Census by Liz Williams. Take it away, Liz.
Thanks, Steve. And Michael's on, and I just wanted it. Michael has the ability to share his screen.
I tried a new thing on GoToMeeting where it said you should be able to share automatically.
Okay,
Do you have it?
great. Well, then hopefully, okay. Well, I will just throw it to Michael. Thank you so much, Steve. My name is Liz Williams. I'm the Director of Data and Policy in the Office of Transportation Planning, and I'm joined by Michael Melencio of the Office of Performance Management and Innovation. And we're really excited to be here today to talk about the Massachusetts Vehicle Census, which we released on June 30th, so just about a month ago. We believe the vehicle census is a first in the nation data set that sets us up to answer questions and conduct analysis that hasn't been possible before, and we're pretty sure isn't available anywhere else. So as all of you know, we're the only state in the nation that collects odometer data regularly and in a way that's verifiable. And so with that data, we've been able to build a resource that joins what we know about how much cars are being driven with information about those cars themselves. As a result, we can answer important and timely questions like how many vehicles are being are registered in my city or town, how many of those are electric, but also what's the difference in how much those cars are driven. We're better equipped to respond to pressing policy initiatives like needs assessments around electric vehicle infrastructure. I'm sure many of you have been asked or are asking questions about the siting of electric vehicle charging stations. Some of you may be part of the Municipal Green Communities Program, and so we've been working with our partners at EEA to understand, to track the composition of municipal vehicle fleets. And we've also been working with DESI to support the Commonwealth's efforts to transition to electric vehicles for school transportation. So the Massachusetts Vehicle Census, I'm sure many of you are familiar with a lot of our other dashboards. This really represents the continuation of MassDOT's culture of open data. We're regularly asked about vehicle registration data. I know that's true of the RMV and that's true of the MassDOT communications team. And so like the mobility dashboard, the vehicle census is just another service that MassDOT's providing to our public. Michael is going to show you the dashboard next. This first version is a municipal level version. We've picked out some key performance indicators about vehicle adoption and vehicle usage that we want to share, but we've also created special municipal and MPO pages where you can look at data more granularly, specifically for your city or your town or the MPO as a whole. We're looking forward towards releasing a vehicle census that's more granular with respect to geography and time, so we can present data at the neighborhood level and more often throughout the year. And we're also looking to add new vehicle characteristics to the data, like when the vehicle was introduced to the fleet, basically is it new or used, and also more specific data, like I said, about school buses. So right now I'll stop talking and turn things over to Michael, who can walk us through the dashboard.
Thank you, Liz. I think in order for me to present, I think Brad might stop presenting.
Are you able to share your screen? Does it give you that option?
No, not yet.
All right, well, let me go back to the old-fashioned way. Let's see. You're now an organizer. You should be able to now, hopefully.
Okay, so thank you. So as Liz said, this is the landing page for the Massachusetts Vehicle Census. A little bit of background: this was built off of 3 data sets from the Registry of Motor Vehicles. One is the vehicle excise tax, to gather where vehicles are garaged. An excise bill, that's how we determine the garaging location or municipality for each vehicle. The second data set is the Registry of Motor Vehicles kind of database of active registrations, whether someone starts a registration or seizes or cancels a registration for any reason. We can kind of know at different points of time when a vehicle is active. From that data, we can also gather different vehicle attributes, such as the fuel or propulsion system, whether it's electric or hybrid or plug-in hybrid or fossil fuel, as well as other vehicular level data, such as the vehicle structure, whether it's a bus or ambulance or car or truck, as well as the registration plate type. So whether the vehicle is registered for a municipality, a state, or passenger or commercial. So given all that data, we can kind of like, we put that all together and we have this state level data set that we can break down into the MPO, and within the MPO, the municipality, and then even further within the municipality, we can break that down to the zip code within the municipality. And we're also currently working on a next iteration where we can break it down to the block group level within each municipality. So what we have here, what we're looking at is the landing page, and at the top we have 3 major measures that we've developed, and each one is broken down even further by fuel class. So currently, we're looking at a map of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the total daily vehicle count, which is all registered vehicles in Massachusetts on January 1st, 2023, which is 5.257 million. And we can compare that to the beginning of our data, which is January 1st, 2020, which is 5.202 million, for an increase of 54,000 vehicles over 3 years, or registrations. Now, our next measure is the percentage of the total count of registrations that are vehicles that are classified as zero emission or hybrid. We can see that we have an increase in January 1st, 2020 from 2.6% to 4.4%. Our next measure is the daily vehicle miles traveled. This is taken from our odometer readings and inspections data. So we have an estimated daily vehicle miles traveled for January 1st, 2023 of 137 million, which is a decrease from January 1st, 2020 of 144 million daily VMT. We can break that down even further to see the percentage of those daily VMT for zero emission or hybrid. And again, we saw an increase from January 1st, 2020 from 2.9% to 4.8%. Our next measure is the average mileage per day. So this is kind of looking like a snapshot on January 1st, 2023. All vehicles across the Commonwealth averaged 26.2 miles per day compared to January 1st, 2020 when they were driving 27.7. And finally, we have the average of vehicles that are just zero emission or hybrid, and that is 28.6 compared to 30.4. It is notable that we did find that compared to all vehicles, which are driving 26.2 on average miles per day, the zero emission or hybrid vehicles are driving more than that at 28.6. So within this first landing page, we can also break it down by different MPOs, and within the MPO, we can break it down even further by the municipality within the MPO, and we can look at the different groupings that we have per measure, and see that spatially, and look at the variation among municipalities within the MPO. And we can also compare all the selected municipalities to the statewide measures. So as Liz mentioned, we can the user can go even further within the dashboard and look at the MPO or municipal level, and you can kind of slice the data as you want. You can look at the data by different dates, January 1st, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, as well as the advanced vehicle type, the vehicle use, and the vehicle type. So what we're looking at here, if we want to just narrow this down to one MPO on January 1st, 2023, excuse me, and we just want to look at all municipal vehicles or municipal and state level vehicles. We can see that we have 98% were fossil fuel, 1.5% were hybrid electric vehicle. So this is, as we would assume now, would be mostly fossil fuel. So our next page is kind of a cross matrix of little snapshots in time. What we're looking at here is January 1st, 2023. We have a total number of registrations on this day. And we broke that down by passenger fossil fuel vehicles, passenger hybrid vehicles, passenger zero emission vehicles, and likewise for commercial. So you're looking at on January 1st, 2023, across the Commonwealth, 4.634 million passenger fossil fuel vehicles. We also have a fourth page, which is separate than the last page I showed you. This is an annualized aggregation. So what we're looking at here is for the year 2022, from January 1st, 2022, all the way through December 31st, 2022. If a vehicle is active on 1 or 10 or any of those days, we take the estimated daily mileage for that day, and we aggregate it and sum it up across the entire year. So what we're looking at is for the entire year 2022 for passenger fossil fuel vehicles across the Commonwealth, we calculated 44.2 billion vehicle miles traveled for vehicles that are garaged in Massachusetts. Finally, on our About page, we have our background and methodology for how we process the data, and we also have links at the bottom to Geodot, where if someone wants to do their own analysis or review the data or dig even further, you can download CSVs of the data sets that are driving the dashboard. And these are in 2 levels. One is the first of the year, which is like a snapshot on January 1st of 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And we also have the annualized aggregation numbers. And both of these data sets are available at the municipal level and also at the zip code within the municipal level. And that is the Massachusetts Vehicle Census dashboard. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
All right. Anyone have any questions for Michael or Liz? All right. I don't see any. So thank you, Liz, and thank you, Michael.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I think I saw a raised hand.
Oh, you did? Who?
Charlotte Weigel from Groton.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, hi, thank you. So a lot of towns, including Groton, are using the Metropolitan Area Planning Council's GHG inventory. I didn't look in the About page, but I'm just wondering if you're familiar with it. Will we be able to extract the same data set to then, update our inventory for more recent years? Because we're all kind of relying on that 2014 data set for generating those inventories.
That's a really great question. The idea of greenhouse gas modeling with this data has come up before, but we've not. So we totally transparent. We worked really closely with MAPC on this product. A lot of you remember that MAPC developed the first iteration of the vehicle census back in 2014. And so we worked really closely with Tim Reardon and Connor Gately on that. How this vehicle census data is going to feed back into their GH. So that being said, I know they're aware of it, but how that's going to feed back into their GHG data and calculations, I'm not clear on. So it's a great question that I'm going to follow up with them about. And I would encourage you all to as well, but or just get some clarity on how that works together. But that's definitely something I'll follow up with them on.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Sorry, I missed that.
Steve, I also put the chat, the link to the dashboard in the chat so folks can take a look at the dashboard, and that's it. That's an easy way to look at the data. But folks should also feel free to email me or Michael with questions or ideas or comments or things that they'd like to see in the dashboard or ways they'd like to use it. So please feel free to take a click around and then reach out with any thoughts.
All right, last call. Any questions, comments? All right, thank you again, both of you.
Thank you.
All right, Brad, can you put up the agenda?
There we go.
All right, we're on to now agenda item 6, which is on the TIP, Federal Fiscal Year 2023-2027 TIP actions. So I don't see Brian. Is Brian here?
No, this is going to be George Snow.
All right, go ahead, George.
You're muted, George.
Sorry. I just want to make it clear that TIP amendments 5 and 6 pertain to the FFY 2023 TIP of the FFY 2023 through 2027 TIP. Highway Element Amendment number 5 was presented to the MPO at the 6/28/23 MPO meeting. The need to amend the TIP is due to a price increase for project number 607432, the Westminster Route 140 Rehab and Box Widening Project. Project costs increased from about 6.4 mil to about 10.1 mil for a net increase of about 3.7 mil, or approximately 58.6%. Because this represents an increase of more than 10% of a program project over 5 mil, an amendment to the highway element is required. The endorsed TIP is physically constrained for FFY 2023 that has about 2.3 mil available in target funds for this project. The state has committed to fund the remaining project cost that exceeds the regional target by about 1.4 mil through statewide funds. This combination of funding means that the TIP will remain fiscally constrained. A motion was made, seconded, and passed at the 6/28/23 MPO meeting to release the amendment for a 21-day public review and comment period. The period commenced on 7/3/23 and closed at the end of business at 7/24/23. At the 7/12 MJTC meeting, the MJTC passed a recommendation to the MPO that the amendment receive MPO endorsement. One comment from Mass DOT was received on 7/17/23. The total cost of the project increased slightly from $10,108,853 to $10,168,809 for a net increase of $59,956. Target funds will remain fully committed and the cost increase is covered by statewide funds. Therefore, the TIP will remain fiscally constrained. As of 7/24/23, no other comments were received. Today, the action we are seeking is a vote from the MPO to endorse the amendment with the additional cost increase as stated in the Mass DOT comments. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, George. Can I get a motion and a second to endorse Highway TIP Amendment 5?
I make a motion to endorse it as presented.
I'll second. Ann Sullivan?
All right, any questions for George? Seeing none, Brad, you want to read the roll?
MassDOT Secretary and CEO, Steve Warfel.
Yes.
MassDOT Highway, Ann Sullivan.
Yes.
City of Leominster, Mark Camerini.
Yes.
MRPC, Glenn Eaton.
Yes.
March Chair, George Kahale.
Yes.
Subregion 1, Brian Croto.
Yes.
Subregion 2, Rosemary Meisner.
Yes.
Subregion 3, Cesar Nuzolo.
Yes.
And that's it. We have unanimous.
All right, thank you guys for that. Thank you, George. All right, we have another, Brad, if you could bring the agenda up, we have another tip. We have 3 tip actions in total, I believe, today, right? Or
there's a, we're just going to, for informational, go over the transit tip amendment number 5. We had a transit amendment go out as amendment number 5 with a abbreviated comment period, and George is going to run down what happened during that comment period.
All right, go ahead, George.
Thank you, Steve. Transit amendment number 5 was presented to the MPO at the 6/28/23 MPO meeting. The MPO was contacted by MART and Mass DOT about the need to amend the TIP. The amendment is for cost changes to 6 projects and removes 2 projects. The changes are due to price increases and updated MART priorities. At the MPO meeting held on 6/28/23, the MPO reviewed the proposed amendment and a motion was made, seconded, and passed that the amendment be released for an abbreviated and minimum 10-day public review and comment period. The 10-day period for the amendment is due to MART funding needs. The public review and comment period commenced on 7/3/23 and closed at the end of business on 7/12/23. No comments were received as of that day. At the 7/12/23 MJTC meeting, the MJTC passed a recommendation to the MPO that the amendment receive MPO endorsement. It was agreed upon at the 6/28/23 MPO meeting that if no comments were received by the end of the comment period, that endorsement of the amendment would be in effect after the comment period ended due to MART funding needs. That's all I have.
All right, so let's see. Don't we have Brad, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble jumping between tabs on this, so I apologize if something's coming up that shouldn't be there. We now have, moving on to new TIP amendments to discuss TIP amendment number 6 for transit and highway. And that will be George also.
All right, go ahead, George.
Thank you. The MPO was contacted by Mass DOT about the need to amend the TIP due to price increases for 2 projects in the highway element. The first project is project number 612-620 in Harvard. It's a bridge preservation project, Route 2 over the Nashua River, Tank Road, in the Boston and Maine Railroad. The project has seen a cost increase from about 2.7 mil to about 3.7 mil for a net increase of about 1 mil. Because this represents an increase of more than $500,000 for a program project under 5 mil, an amendment to the highway element is required. Also, this project is being moved from Section 1B, earmark or discretionary grant funded projects, to Section 2A, state prioritized reliability projects, which does not impact our target funds. Second project is number 610672 in Gardner on Elm Street that is a resurfacing and sidewalk improvement safe routes to school project. The project has seen a cost increase from about 1.25 mil to about 1.81 mil for a net increase of about $570,000. Because this represents an increase of more than $500,000 for a program project under 5 mil, an amendment to the highway element is required. Today, the action we are seeking is a vote from the MPO to release the amendment for an abbreviated 10-day public review and comment period, so FHWA has the time to approve the action before they close their books at the end of November. The review and comment period would commence on 8/2/23 and close at the end of business on 8/11/23. That's all I have.
So, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong. This amendment's going out for the usual 21-day. We're doing a separate action on transit because FTA's books are closing, right?
Right. That's correct. Yeah, this one should be normal. And just a clarification on the Gardner project, that one should be amended off of the current tip. The project is not going to make this fiscal year, and it does have a cost increase, but I think the amendment needs to be that it's actually being amended off. So I just wanted to mention that too, and when we make the motion, I think that should be.
So if I'm correct, Derek, for this highway amendment to go for public review, there are changes to the Harvard project and the other project George talked about, which is, can you scroll up, Brad?
It was the Gardner Safe Routes to School Elm Street project.
Was it just those two projects?
Yeah, just those two.
So it is to amend Gardner out of the tip and then make the changes to Harvard, and it would be a 21-day public comment period. Correct, Eric? Do I have that right?
Right, that's correct. Yes.
That would be endorsed then in September because I don't think we have a full 21 days available before the August meeting. So would that be a problem?
We could do something like a shortened comment period, but not do the conditional approval, that it would be enough to.
So we can get a 10 to 14-day comment period in before the planned August meeting. It's just that if you wanted to go a full 21 days for that, we either have to move back the August meeting or do the endorsement in September.
Derek, do we know if it has an impact? Clearly on the Gardner thing, it probably doesn't matter. It's really the Harvard Bridge preservation, correct?
Yes.
So do we know, Derek, if there's an issue?
I wouldn't think so. I think, Brad, does the public participation plan, if the MPO is open to it, maybe a comment period that's somewhere, but, long enough that there's enough maximum time to comment while also being in for the next meeting. So maybe instead of,
we can shorten the comment period to no less than 10 days.
Right.
So, and the August meeting is scheduled for August 16th. That's the normal third Wednesday of the month. So if we begin the comment period on Monday, July 31st, we could get a full 14-day comment period in. Yeah, we could do 14 with no problem.
All right. So the motion is to make the changes to Harvard, the Harvard Bridge Preservation Project, remove Gardner from the tip, and I guess a 14-day public comment period so we can take this up in August. Does anyone want to make a motion or second of that amendment?
So moved, Jan Sullivan.
Is there a second?
Second, George.
All right. Any questions? I know that was all really clear, so I think we have it. All right. I don't see any questions, so Brad, please read the roll.
Sure. MassDOT Secretary CEO Steve Werfel.
Yes.
MassDOT Highway Ann Sullivan.
Yes.
City of Leominster Mark Pomerini.
Yes.
MRPC Glenn Eaton.
Yes.
Mart George Cahaley.
Yes.
Subregion 1 Brian Croto.
Yes.
Subregion 2 Rosemary Meisner.
Yes.
And Subregion 3 Cesar Muzola.
Yes.
It passes. No problem.
All right. So we'll move on to the next tip. There's a transit tip, and since this is a little bit different, I'm actually, George, instead of having you describe it, I want Derek to describe it because it's a little bit funky that we've never done before. So Derek, do you want to explain where we're at with this?
All right. Yeah, I can do that if you want to show that handout, Brad.
Yeah, let me just, again, I'm having a little trouble selecting tabs here, so I'll just give me 1 second. Where did it go? Here we go. Okay, that should be the transit one now you see in front of you.
Oh, great. Yep. So just wanted to let everyone know that there were grants made to a variety of different regional transit authorities as well as nonprofit organizations as part of a grant program called the Community Transit Grant Awards, which is federal 5310 funding. It's funding made available from FTA specifically to provide transportation for older adults and people with disabilities. So these projects are in the spirit of that program. This amendment is to add these 3 projects to the 2023 element of the TIP. So you can see them listed here. 2 for Gamma Inc. for replacement vans, and then 1 for MART. And because of the timing of these, like we mentioned in the previous item, Federal Transit Administration's system closes in August, and so we've been asked to expedite comment periods to make sure that these can get processed prior to that system closing down and make sure that the funding can be made available. So we'd be requesting I think 10 to 14 days, whatever folks are comfortable with, to consider this one conditionally approved if there are no negative comments or significantly negative comments received. And then it would be officially approved at the August meeting, and there would be a vote on some other kind of action then. But for now, it would just be to shorten that comment period so we can make sure we get it in time for FTA's review. So it's adding these 3 projects to the TIP is what the motion would be, and also for a short.
All right. Can I get a motion to and a second to for this amendment as detailed by Derek?
I'll move
Make a
Ann Sullivan.
motion to, okay, go ahead.
So Ann made a motion. George, were you going to second it?
Yes.
All right. Any questions?
I have a question regarding
Sure.
how we're listing the project. In talking with MART, they provided us with some information. Let me just bring their rundown of the this is what we got from MassDOT on the ESIP. Mark showed us this as an amendment, and basically it's 2 projects. Our summary has listed as 3, and I think it has to do with how the funding is listed. So I just want to clarify how we list the project for comment. Is it as 2 projects, or is it actually 3 as shown on the other handout, where there was a local funding match that was in question on my side?
So I believe it is actually 2 projects, Brad. That might have been a misinterpretation. So I'm looking at our application now too. I see that it's 1 project for Gamma and 1 project for Mark, and it may have been an issue with that funding source as you mentioned. So
okay.
Yeah.
I believe I have our summary back up. So we would list it as the project is 11519 Gamma by replacement vans, 2 vans for Gamma's receiving agency. The FTA action cost is 1776, and we put the 44 local match, 4400 local match item under the status. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Okay. That clarifies it for me, so then I will adjust this summary, and that's what will go off for public comment.
All right, so we have a motion and a second from Ann and George. Are you both fine with that now that we have the language correct?
Yes.
Ann, you
Yes.
good?
Yes.
All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none. Brad, you want to read the roll, please?
MassDOT Secretary CEO Steve Werfel.
Yes.
MassDOT Highway Ann Sullivan.
Yes.
City of Leominster Mark Pomerini.
Yes.
MRPC Glenn Eaton.
Sir.
Mark George Cahaley.
Yes.
Subregion 1 Brian Proto.
Yes.
Subregion 2 Rosemary Meisner.
Yes.
Subregion 3 Cesar Nuzola.
Yes.
And it passes unanimously.
All right, thanks. I think someone has their audio on, so please, I think someone's having another conversation, so try to please do that. All right, we're on to agenda item 7, which is the Montachusett Federal Fiscal Year 2024 Regional Transportation Plan. Brad, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Tyler Godin, our newest transportation planner. He's going to talk about the RTP. Tyler?
Hi, everyone. So, as Brad just mentioned, I'm going to discuss the comments we received on the draft 2024 RTP. We received during the public comment period, which ended Monday, July 24th, we received an official comment from MassDOT, as well as some supplemental information from MART, which we will incorporate into the final document. First, I will go over the MassDOT comments, which are on the screen now. So the MassDOT comments included a detailed review of the plan. I won't go over all these comments in detail, but we've condensed them into categories, which you can see the categories are highlighted in green. And within each category, there's the item that they commented on, the actual comment, and what the response will be to that comment. So the first section we've titled completeness. So within this section, they have requested us to add endorsements and certification sheets. And also they've suggested some clarification in the transit and public outreach chapters. And then going into the next section of comments, we have narrative. Within this section, they've requested that we update some lines and some references that we made, as well as giving a little, providing some more content and description on certain things. Also including a funding sources section in the appendix. And then the next section we have project listing and program development. There's only one item in this section, and that is just requesting that we update the cost of a project. So just making sure that information is up to date and accurate. Then the final section within the MassDOT comments is impact analysis. So within this, they have suggested adding additional analysis on equity, which we provide in the TIP and UPWP. And like it says in some of the comments in here, a lot of that can be copied directly from the TIP / UPWP. And then there's also just a comment asking to please include an item in the appendix documenting these comments. And then moving on to the MART feedback. So again, these are some comments that we received from MART during the 21-day comment period. And like the MassDOT comments, they will be incorporated into an appendix at the in the final document. And I think they will be pulled up on the screen in a second.
Yep. coming up.
Okay, there they are. So again, like I did with the MassDOT comments, I'm not going to go over it in super detail or anything. I'll just review the information on here. So the first section of comments that we received, the first sort of section, is current transit capital improvements. So within this, it just highlights, it's just some information on the recent capital improvements MART has made or plans to make. And within that, there's some information on minibuses. They're purchasing and deploying a fleet of minibuses, as well as some new GPS technology that they have purchased and are utilizing. And then the next section of comments is current transit operational improvements. So this is some updates on recent operational improvements, such as reduced fares and 2 new micro transit services. And then the next section is on future transit improvements. This includes a Gardner fixed route that's being assessed for service area improvements and improvements to the route schedule and for commuters and local businesses. And then also analyzing some of the fixed routes in Fitchburg and Leominster, and also purchasing a facility in Devens to conduct satellite operations. And then the next section is transit challenges, and this highlights a lot of the financial and operational impacts that MAR has experienced, especially some new challenges that they've been experiencing since the last RTP, like including some pandemic-related challenges, supply chain shortages, and the challenging workforce and labor participation. And then the next section, human service transportation brokerage improvement. This section, or this service, has been expanded since we last did the RTP, and they are providing some additional information for us to include, such as some new technology that they're utilizing and some new reporting systems. And so, like I said before, we will be incorporating all of this information. It will be a big influence to the transit chapter, and also we will be including it, as I mentioned before, in the appendix of the RTP. So those are all the comments we received during the 21-day public comment period. The only other feedback we received was from the MJTC at its meeting on July 12th, where the group made a recommendation to the MPO to officially endorse the 2024 RTP.
All right. Thank you for going over that, Tyler. Any questions before I call for motion second to approve the RTP?
We have Charlotte Weigel from Groton had her hand raised, and then Carolyn Sellers raised her hand.
All right.
Yes. Hi. So I'm a member of the Groton Sustainability Commission, and we did send some comments. I sent it on Wednesday of last week. I didn't know if those would be considered at all, or if we're not a group that was included in the comments or has the ability to comment. I'm not sure, but
It's open to the public. Anyone can comment. I don't recall seeing those coming in. We'll have to double check our email post boxes to see if they are available. If not, I'll get in touch with you and get another copy of your comments directly. But
okay, yep, I sent them on Wednesday the 19th to the RTP
okay.
address that was listed on the web page. So
All right.
yeah, that'd be great if you wouldn't mind following up. And
Sure.
Carolyn, I think you wanted to talk. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Carolyn? I don't know. Is she on mute or something?
Nope, no, doesn't look like it.
Carolyn, we're not hearing you.
Nope, we're not hearing you, unfortunately. No, we can't pick up anything from you, Carolyn.
Might. Okay.
You submitted a comment also. Was that through the RTP email? She's using her chat. So yes, it is. We'll have to take a look and see what happened to that email. I'm not sure why they didn't come through. But
There was a, oh, sorry,
ahead.
there was a, I know Carolyn also is probably going to say, there was a third set of comments that were submitted by NC4, the North Central Climate Change Coalition group. I think those were sent on Monday. Not by me, but I assume that all went to the same address. So there's at least 3 that aren't accounted for.
I apologize that we don't have them up for you. Could I just ask if they were just comments adding information or adding things related to the communities, or would they be considered something that would require further action that would need to be reviewed by the MPO?
Okay, Carolyn says yes.
Carolyn says yes. It was 12 pages, Brad. I think, Brad, because there's all these outstanding comments, I think, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, we could wait for an August vote. So I think, Brad, with the amount of comments that are outstanding that you guys didn't address yet, that we should hold off and not take action on this and put it back on the agenda for August. That makes sense?
If there's time to do that, I have no problem with that.
Okay. Yeah, I think it works for our schedule. And Brad, you're fine with that? Are members also fine with that?
Yes, I am. I agree.
I agree too.
All right, so we're not taking any, good thing I didn't do a motion in a second like I usually do. So we will just hold on this. Brad will put on the agenda, and obviously, Brad, for next meeting, we're going to want an update on all these comments, hopefully before actually the meeting, so we can take a look at the responses.
Yeah, we'll make a concerted effort to get them out with the mailings for the MPO when you get the notice of the meeting.
All right. Well, thank you for those comments and letting us know that you guys had those out there so we could take them up. Thank you very much. All right. With that, we'll move on to agenda item 8, which is updates. So the first one, Highway Division. Do you have any updates?
I can just quickly go through kind of the status of projects on the current year of the TIP. The Westminster project, which we just released for public comment, that is at PS&E, and it has an August 12th add date. I know Daryl's on, so I'll let him do the D2 projects. Gardner Roundabout, Elm Street, Pearl Street, Central Street, that was advertised in May. It was awarded to E.H. Perkins, and then NTP was issued in early July. The Harvard Bridge project that we're also talking about, Route 2 over Nashua, Tank, Boston Mail Railroad, that's at 100%, and it has an August 26th add date. The Fitchburg Route 2 resurfacing, that was advertised in February and awarded to J.H. Lynch with a March NTP. The Ashby Greenville Route 31 and Turnpike Road, that was actually advertised last fiscal year, and the NTP was issued to ET&L in October. And then the Gardner Elm Street resurfacing and sidewalk improvements, that's also at PS&E. The issue is the city can't complete the right-of-way in time for 2023. That's the one on the amendment that's being moved off the TIP, not specifically placed anywhere, but moved off the TIP.
All right. Thanks, Ann. Anyone have any questions? All right. No, I don't see any. Thanks, Ann. Daryl, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning or afternoon. So for District 2, we have a few projects. First, we'll go through FY24-608-723. This is Athol intersection improvements at Crescent Street and Chestnut Hill Ave. The design is at 100%. It was submitted and review comments were completed on March 1st. Right-of-way resubmission was received on June 27th and is currently under review. And the PS&E is due on December 6th this year. Next, we have project 612151. This is the Athol Bridge replacement, State Route 2A over Main Street over B&M Railroad. The design is at pre-25. The alternatives analysis and draft design justification worksheet was received on July 24th, and comments are due on August 24th. The 25% design is due on February 11th, 2024. And finally, we have project 608424. This is an FY26. This is a Templeton reconstruction of Route 68 from King Philip Trail, Route 202 north to the Phillipston town line. The design is at 75%. The right-of-way is awaiting 100% submission, and 100% design is due on December 30th this year. That's all I have.
All right. Any questions for Daryl? Seeing none. Thank you, Daryl. All right. Any updates from Mart?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any new update today.
Okay. Kenya, do you have anything?
No, I have nothing.
All right. Thank you both. We'll move on to the next one, which is from the JTC. Brad, anything from JTC?
Just a couple of items. The JTC met last on July 12th, and they held elections for officers for the upcoming year. As a result, Robert Schwartz of Gardner was elected chair. Travis Condon of North Central Mass Chamber of Commerce was reelected as vice chair, and Beth Faxon of Townsend was elected as secretary. The next MJTC meeting is scheduled for August 9th at 2:30 p.m. And a couple of handouts. The first is on a Northern Tier passenger rail study newsletter for June 30th. The newsletter states that the study team has been focused on refining the initiative service alternatives and advancing work on Task 4, which is potential service plans and alternatives, and Task 5, alternatives, valuation, and cost estimates. They expect to present information from these tasks at upcoming working group and public meetings. The newsletter also discusses the benefit cost analysis that will be conducted on the alternatives being evaluated. This handout provides some links to sign up for the study updates, as well as to register for any scheduled events. A copy of this newsletter is available on the MRPC website. The second handout is from USDOT, and it is related to a notice of funding opportunity for the Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods program that has up to $3.16 billion available for planning and construction projects. This NOFO is a combination of two major discretionary grant opportunities, the Reconnecting Communities pilot program and the Neighborhood Access and Equity programs. They've been combining these two programs into a single NOFO to provide more efficient application process for project sponsors. They will remain separate programs for the purpose of award, but the programs share many common characteristics, and it lists some of those characteristics and provides some further information on this NOFO. And there are links available for anyone interested to get some further information, and this is also available on our website. And that's all I have for MJTC, if there are any questions.
Any questions for Brad? All right. Don't see any, Brad. Last update is for the Planning Commission. Anything from the Planning Commission?
Mr. Chair, I just posted in the chat that MRPC is still looking for personnel in the Planning and Development Department, and it's there, and that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Glenn. All right. We will now move on to administrative matters. Our next meeting, as Brad mentioned earlier, is August 16th, correct?
Yep, it will be August 16th at 1 p.m., and we will get out the comments, responses to the RTP prior to that meeting, so everyone has a chance to look them over.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Brad. Any other administrative matters, or is that it? I think that's it, right?
I believe so.
With that, can I get a motion second to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 Thank
All right, thank you, everybody. Try to enjoy the hot weather, stay cool, and thank you for August. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.